Reverend Annie is going to share a little opening number for us entitled, Are You Ready to Receive? Reverend Annie.
Are you ready to receive? Are you ready to receive? Are you ready to receive the gifts of the Spirit? Are you ready to receive? Are you ready to receive? Are you ready to receive the gifts of the Spirit? I am ready to receive. I am ready to receive. I am ready to receive the gifts of the Spirit. Are we ready to receive? Are we ready to receive? Are we ready to receive the gifts of the Spirit? We are ready to receive. We are ready to receive. We are ready to receive the gifts of the Spirit. Are we ready to receive? Are we ready to receive? Are we ready to receive the gifts of the Spirit?
Thank you, Reverend Annie. That was lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that as well.
Simply beautiful. Thank you.
And we'll go ahead and get started here. I just want to let everybody know that we will be recording this evening, and then we will be putting this up on our YouTube site. So it will be available for everyone to see, and they can review it later. And you'll find that your best view for this evening is if you set your view up in the upper right-hand corner is to select your speaker view. That's going to give you your best view for tonight. You can go into gallery as you wish when we get started and we'd like to see more people. So welcome everyone to New Light Temple's November service on Inner Light. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our host for the evening, Reverend Catherine Congdon. Reverend Catherine.
Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Definite big welcome to you all. Thank you, Bud. So our theme this month is Inner Light. We each have an inner light that glows inside, no matter how dimly we perceive it at times in ourselves or in others. Buddha's last words to his chief disciple Ananda were Apo Dipo Bhava. It translates as be a light unto yourself. This is a theme that resonates and resounds through religion after religion. Our hope is that this service helps your inner light to shine more fully in the world. I'm going to go over the agenda for this evening. We'll start with the New Light Temple invocation, then move into the seasonal observations, the holidays that fall in November, then to our presentation for this evening. Our guest speaker, Reverend Annie Mark, will be doing a presentation on activating the light within. After that, our New Light Temple Universal Blessing, then our experiential sharing segment, where you can share your thoughts relating to a question about our talk and our presentation, or if you want to listen, that's fine too. Then announcements of things that we think you might have an interest in going forward, and then our closing. And now, Reverend Natalia de Resendez will read our invocation. Reverend Natalia?
Thank you, Reverend Catherine. Invocation. New Light Temple was founded by Rabbi Joseph Gelberman as a haven where people of all beliefs and backgrounds could joyously come together to share their bountiful and varied gifts of spirit. New Light Temple is the ordaining body of All Faith Seminary International. Our purpose is to provide a sacred space for people of all faiths and ages to celebrate diverse religious and spiritual traditions. We gather for connection, inspiration, solace, and healing while fostering understanding, peace, love, and unity. In the words of Gandhi, I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. I see your beauty. I hear your need. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from the highest source. I salute this source into you. Let us work together for unity and peace. And in the words of our Rabbi Joseph Gelberman, never instead of, always in addition to.
Thank you, Reverend Natalia. We'll next move into our seasonal observations. We have quite a few this month. So October 31st through November 2nd is Day of the Dead, both a Christian and pagan holiday. It's Mexican and Central American in origin, going back to the Aztec and Maya cultures. Adios de los Muertes commemorates death as an essential part of life and honors loved ones who have passed. Rites include making altars for deceased loved ones with special foods and photos of the departed, a day to commune with deceased loved ones. Next, November 1st, All Saints' Day, a Christian holiday. This day is to commemorate all the saints who have passed on. November 2nd, All Souls' Day, another Christian holiday, a day for remembrance to pray for the souls of deceased loved ones. On both of these holidays, religious services may be held. November 8th, the birthday of Guru Nanak Ji, a day honoring the birth of the founder of Sikhism and the first Sikh Guru. This holiday is one of the most significant festivals of the Sikh community. The celebration begins 2 days prior to the actual date, starting with a reading of the Sikh holy book, the Guru Granth Sahib. On the day itself, rites include processions, prayers, chanting, and singing of hymns. November 24th, there's a lot happening this November 24th. Another Sikh holiday, the martyrdom or celebration, the martyrdom of Guru Bahadur. Guru Bahadur was a guru in the 1600s who was executed as a result of defending the Sikh tenet that all people have a right to practice their faiths freely and peacefully. Also in November 24th, Thanksgiving in the US, a secular holiday. It was inaugurated in 1789 with an edict by George Washington, originally as a harvest festival. It was celebrated intermittently until Abraham Lincoln declared Thanksgiving as a national holiday. Some faiths hold services on this day focusing on gratitude and thanksgiving. And there's one other one in there that I know of, that's the Jain New Year, is also on the 24th. November 27th, Advent begins. It's a Christian period of preparation before Christmas. And then on the 30th is the Feast of St. Andrew, Jesus' first disciple. So normally there are a lot of feast days for saints. We might not go through all of those, but this one has a special meaning maybe at this particular time. It's a day honoring the patron saint of Scotland, Greece, Barbados, Romania, but also both Russia and the Ukraine in the Roman Catholic Church. So I'd like us just to take a moment of silence to pray for peace in this situation in Ukraine with Russia, but also throughout all of the world. So please just join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. May peace prevail on earth. And now our presentation by Reverend Annie Mark, Activating the Light Within. So Reverend Annie Mark, CSC CCM, is a writer, an interfaith and shamanic minister, a certified contemplative musician, shamanic breathwork master facilitator, singer-songwriter, harpist, guitarist, and a performing and recording artist. She is a contributing author in the recent Amazon bestseller, Shaman Heart, 26 Tales of Turning Pain into Passion and Purpose. She is the co-creator of Freedom, Folk, and Soul's experiential ministerial training program with Stephanie Urbina Jones and Jeremy Pager. She is the creator of Singing in the Sacred and Build a Song, Build a Story creativity workshops. Reverend Annie has many years' experience in all aspects of ministry, including planning, creating, and officiating ceremonies of all kinds. Reverend Annie's website and contact information will be posted in the chat box. We are grateful to have Reverend Annie Mark with us tonight. Over to you, Reverend Annie.
Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to be here and so grateful and honored that Catherine asked me. And activating the light within. I thought I'm just going to share a few practices that I do that help me activate. Um, just as a beginning, of course, music is really central to how I do that. And also to tune into our natures, that we're part of the natural world and the elements of air, water, fire, and earth. And I'd just like to invite you to just you can sing along, but stay muted because it doesn't work on Zoom if you catch on. And I'm just going to call in the elements as a way to deepen and further activate the light within. Spirit of the air, carry me. Spirit of the air, carry me home. Spirit of the air, carry me home to myself. Welcome the element of air, the element of breath, wind, the direction east. New beginnings, clarity, the bigger picture. Spirit of the air, carry me. Spirit of the air, carry me home. Spirit of the air, carry me home to myself. Spirit of the water, carry me. Spirit of the water, carry me home. Spirit of the water, carry me home to myself. We welcome the element of water. The direction west. The womb of creation, birth, rebirth, dreams and emotions, healing, going with the flow. Welcome the element of water. Spirit of the water, carry me. Spirit of the water, carry me home. Spirit of the water, carry me home to myself. Spirit of the fire, carry me. Spirit of the fire, carry me home. Spirit of the fire, carry me home to myself. Welcome the element of fire, the direction of south, for action, passion, abundance, igniting the flames of creation and our unique particular gifts, burning away that which no longer serves. Welcome the element of fire. Spirit of the fire, carry me. Spirit of the fire, carry me home. Spirit of the fire, carry me home to myself. Spirit of the earth, carry me. Spirit of the earth, carry me home. Spirit of the earth, carry me home to myself. Welcome the element of the earth, the north direction, for wisdom, ancestors, the ground of our being, embodiment, rooted in presence. Welcome the element of earth. Spirit of earth, carry me. Spirit of the earth, carry me home. Spirit of the earth, carry me home to myself. And one more time, back to our breath. Spirit of the wind, carry me. Spirit of the wind, carry me home. Spirit of the wind, carry me home to myself. So here we are at the precipice of the season of light. I love calling in those elements just to activate that in myself. Like we're really part of nature. We have fire, earth, air, fire, and water within us. Well, we need it to give birth to something. Those contractions that come, that push us out when we're ready, or being in the womb when we're not quite ready. The seasons of life to really tune into the cyclical nature of our lives and the spiral path and the seasons. We're coming into winter. It's just getting chilly here in the north. I don't know where everybody's from, but it's starting to get chilly. We had a nice Indian summer for a little while, which I was enjoying, but it's starting to get chilly. But I thought I'd read from a little bit of Pocket Full of Miracles about the season of light and about kindling the light within. It's coming in December, but we're really on the heels of that, and I feel like it's already starting. It's the month which all the forces of nature are aligned to help us give birth to the light within. And I think of that of like we give birth again and again and again. Always we can begin again. And that midwinter, we're not really in midwinter yet, but we're coming on it, has it's cast a spell over the land. And all of nature sleeps. It's beginning to sleep. The leaves are falling. And members of the human tribe were beginning to gather by the fire to hear the old stories, by which the soul awakens and finds its way back home. There's so many stories from all different traditions, of course, Hanukkah and, the Festival of Lights, Diwali, Christmas. It comes up again and again and again in the traditions of the world. And I love that, in different ways and in different ways that touch people. So these stories are timeless reminders of the heart's true light. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. The heart's true light that is full of compassion and forgiveness. And listen to the voice of the ancient ones who call us from the deepest core of our beings. that the inner light can be activated within. There's so many different tools we can use. And I don't know. Catherine has been sharing, I think, a month of gratitude in in her posts, and I've been loving that because I think that is a way to also activate the light within. And I think of gratitude, being aware of our blessings, and even if we don't feel it, but really just practicing. What am I grateful for today? Like, I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful for my feet that touch the ground. I like to wake up in the morning and step, especially if the sun is shining, but to wake up in the morning, step out, even if it's cold outside, in my bare feet and just feel my feet on the ground and look up. It just helps me connect to that light within and the light without. There's a light of pure awareness within each of us that's just beyond the veil of our thoughts, or beyond the veil of our thoughts, our feelings, our sensations. And the nature and the essence of that light is there's healing, there's joy, there's peace, there's bliss, there's love. And we can connect and shine this light of divine consciousness directly onto our wounds and our dysfunctional patterns. It's a gateway. And bringing the light of love to darkness. I love the night sky. Darkness isn't bad. But if there is darkness within, it only takes one candle to light a candle in the darkness within. And I know for me, activating the light within is a practice. It's a practice. I need to return to it again and again and again because I forget. When I was in seminary, when I was doing congregational ministry after I got ordained, I do remember there was a song we used to do called Remembering and Forgetting. That's the game we all play, remembering and forgetting. And I think of like activating the light within is really that game of remembering and forgetting. It's not feeling bad about forgetting. It's just as soon as I remember, I can turn back or turn back inward, with activating the light within could just be taking 3 deep breaths and putting my hand on my heart and remembering. And I really do forget a lot, so I need a lot of tools. I've gathered over time, and I would imagine all of you have too, many tools to tune back in and turn on to that light within. Being out in nature, that's why I like to bring in the elements, as like to remember that we are part of the natural world and how beautiful it is. I love this scenery. It's just so beautiful. It's got the trees and the sky and the light that's shining. It just fills my heart. So yeah, remembering our true natures, using silence, just sitting in the silence. And when I sit in the silence, I am reminded that silence is not the absence, for me, is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of something more. It's like an electric presence of something that I'm not aware of unless I really can sit in the silence of it. Even if I can only hold it for a little while, sometimes that's a practice too. And sounding. I use singing as a tool to activate that light within. I love this. There's this piece of writing about harmonizing with the universe, and it talks about singing an act of as an act of vibration, and nobody has to be a singer. Like you don't have like to me, it's like we all can sing because something about making a sound with music, and it doesn't have to be a performance, but there's something about that our larynx looks very much like a birth, a birthing chamber. So when we're singing, we're giving birth to something new or a sound. And I think it's just a great tool. So this is talks about singing, and I'm just sharing some of the things that I do to activate that light within. Singing is an act of vibration. It takes music from the realm of the unformed, whether that is in our minds or from that magical space of inspiration, and moves it from within to without. From the first breath, singing moves the energy in a circular way inside our bodies. As the breath fills our lungs, it brushes against the second and third chakras, the centers of creation, and honoring ourselves and others. Instead of merely exhaling, pushing the air past the fourth and fifth chakras, where heart chakra and the center of will and intention reside, singing engages both the heart and the mind. And I think of activating the light within is about activating both the heart and the mind. It's activating our whole selves. Sound vibrations from vocal cords resonate in the sinus cavities, filling the head with motion and sound, while our brains light up with the processing of the mathematics of music. This marriage of activities brings the third eye into play and opens the door for inspiration from the crown chakra before sending the sound out into the world. Once the vibration begins, it is sustained with each note, moving throughout our bodies and the space around us. This can help us to harmonize our frequencies with the world and with the divine. The use of our voice can bring about catharsis, a cleansing from the expression of emotion, which is why we feel better after singing certain types of songs. All of this occurs even if we are not conscious of what we are singing. But when we really connect with an intention, the power of the voice and music together are powerful tools of creation. And that has just been true for me over and over and over again, where music has been this healing balm, this activator within me. So I was thinking about for me, of course, music is a big thing. Listening to music, sounding music, chanting, all of that really helps me to activate that light within. And there are times when I feel, not so full of light. So it doesn't mean that we need to deny the darkness. It's just being willing to light that candle when it's really dark within ourselves. Like I'll close my eyes and I think of like it's the temple of light, and I was thinking that about igniting the temple within, igniting the light within as like our inner temple, that sacred space within, and we can expand on that with practices. Another way I've found to activate my inner light is through service, and service can take on all different forms. It can be the smallest gesture. It can be. To me, it's like it's magic medicine. When I'm too much in my own mind, I say sometimes this mind is a bad neighborhood to hang out in by myself, and to remember to call in the divine and light to help me to um, not so be to be so not so self-absorbed. And a great practice is to practice, like, if that's going on, pick up the phone and call somebody and say, how are you doing? You know, it doesn't mean discounting if we're having a difficult time, but if we're swimming if I'm swimming in my bad neighborhood, and literally it can be a real bad neighborhood, you just it's like a whack-a-mole of thought. It can go beep, 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 beep. And it's like getting on that hamster wheel. And I think of that as, if I call somebody else and say, how are you doing? Or I just sit in prayer and go through. My father had a wheel, an imaginary wheel, and it was his prayer wheel. And whoever he felt like needed the most, they would go to the top of the wheel. And then, and then it would be a rotating wheel. And I always loved that. When I tune my harp, I use that as a practice of each string that I tune. As I'm tuning it, I think of somebody that I think might need some extra light sent their way. And we know, like, when we share our light, it gets activated within. It's like that beautiful exchange. When I'm sharing music and people are receiving it, it's like we're both getting charged up. Light within, light without. It's like this current of energy. I just love that. I love that current. And self-forgetting sometimes is a great way to activate that light. Like I said, not in denying if we're going through a tough time. That's also, not to bypass that, to honor that and call on help. That's also activating the light within. Sometimes, like, phone a friend and be the friend that needs to talk to somebody about something going on, and know that you're also activating their light. Maybe they were in their own whack-a-mole mind game. There's so many ways and tools. And I'm going to do a song in a minute. I was inspired to write this song. There was a movie, I don't know if anybody remembers it. It was called The Hiding Place. It was from the 70s. And it was a story about the Ten Boom sisters, Corey and Betsy Ten Boom, and their father. But Corey and Betsy Ten Boom were, and I use this word only because it was of the time, were spinster sisters from Holland, and had fairly uneventful lives. They were Christian. They were Christian sisters, and they worked with children with special needs, and in their father's clock and watch shop. But then the Holocaust came, and they hid Jews, and they were, found out and caught and sent away to concentration camp. And one of the sisters died. The father also perished. But the quote was about that there is no darkness so deep, there's no pain, there's no suffering so deep that love can't light the way. That love can't be the tool, the way. And I mean, these were sisters that, were suffering in this camp, and the one sister didn't make it out. But talking about gratitude, one of the things about gratitude was the older sister who did die in the camp said they had head lice, and the younger sister was like, I'm not going to be thankful for these. I'm not thankful for head lice. And Betsy was like, well, let's be, thankful, and that's easier said than done when things are going hard things are happening. But what happened was she didn't feel thankful, but they were offering their gratitude for the head lice. And it turned out that the guards would not come into the barracks because they didn't want to catch head lice. So they were able to have some time without the guards looking over them and punishing them, and they were able to have prayer service and sing and do these things because of this head lice. I don't know, I didn't plan on telling that story, but this song that I'm going to sing is about that. I was inspired by those sisters, and it inspired me to write this song, and it's called "Keep Your Eyes on the Light." I don't understand. I don't know why. I don't understand. I don't know why in this life no one gets by in this life. No one gets by without hurting. When your world gets rocked and everything changes, when your world gets rocked, even the skyline rearranges. Nobody feels quite the same. Nobody knows the right things to say. Standing alone, we have no answers. Two by two, maybe we can see another way. Keep your eyes on the light. Keep your eyes on the light. There is no pit so deep that love is not deeper still. Somewhere I missed the mark. Somehow I got off track. Somehow the shame and guilt kept me from coming back. Now it's time to heal. Time to head for home. Offer up all this anger and fear, and to know I am never alone. Keep your eyes on the light. Keep your eyes on the light. There is no pit so deep that love is not deeper still. So cry if you need to. I'll shake my fists up at the sky. Box with God, let out all screams to just be with me. Stop asking why. Keep our eyes on the light. Keep our eyes on the light. There is no pit so deep that love is not deeper still. There is no pit so deep that love is not deeper still. Yeah, activating the light within and remembering that there really is no pit so deep that love is not deeper still. I've experienced it in my own life in some of the toughest times. I love from Leonard, one of Leonard Cohen's songs, of course, is ring the bells, it still will ring. Forget our perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. And, you know, when my heart has been broken open, it's almost like more light can shine there than ever had before, and can soften me and expand my ability, my capacity for compassion. And it has been for me like the chapter I just wrote in that book, Turning Pain into Passion and Purpose. Pain and darkness has been a tool for me to activate the light within. Not always easy, but always worth it. Always a new tool I might have learned, or a new capacity, an expanded capacity to love and be loved, and be in relationship with myself and with others in a deeper way. And that for me is activating light within is again like a daily practice. It is a daily practice. And I'm going to thank Catherine for it, because I have to say lately I've been forgetting to use my own tools. I forget. And then this was an opportunity to be like, oh, here it is. And I was sitting in silence, and I'm like, it's like the divine. I always think of divine or love or whatever we want to call it is like the perfect lady or gentleman that is there, but unless we invite or turn towards, it's not gonna mess with us too much. I mean, this is my own take. Take what you leave. If it's doesn't resonate, say. But for me, it's just like, oh, that presence is always just waiting for me to turn towards it. It's like the sun is shining, but I have my back to the sun. And then all I need to do is turn towards the sun. Or, with electricity, turn the light on within myself. How do I turn the light on within myself? So, I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to be reminded and to remember that it is a practice, and not to beat myself up for that, but to remember that I can turn back towards the light and activate it and ignite it again. I have the fuel, I have the lighter, and I can do it again and again and again. through music, through silence, through sounding, through connecting with people, like-minded people like here, through joy, making a joyful noise. Somebody said in the chat, and sing once, pray twice, and to just be in that current of connection, in the current of connection. So I'd like to invite us to, if you're so willing, and just participate at whatever level you're comfortable. And I'm just going to lead us in a meditation, and just invite you to just get comfortable with and how whatever that might mean for you, and just invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that, and however you want to uncross your legs, maybe have your hands in an open position or prayer position. I'll just invite you to just do that for yourselves. And I'm going to ring this bell, and I'm just going to take you in a little bit of a guided visualization. Let's just begin by taking a few letting go breaths. Just in and an exhale, and another. And another. I'm going to invite you to remember a time when you might have felt present in the moment, absorbed possibly in a sunset, marveling at fresh fallen snow, enchanted by the smile of a baby. Enter the memory with all your senses, whatever might pop in. And if no thing pops in, enter the empty fullness of that. Remember the sights and colors, the smells, the position of your body, the emotional or felt sense. And now let the memory go and just be in meditation for a little bit on what remains. The stillness and joy of your awareness of that divine presence. Reminded that every moment that we are in the present is a holy moment and activates our inner light. It can be an opening to a deeper meditation, just that holy moment meditation. And just being with that and breathing. And now in the space before you and slightly above you, imagine a great star of light, or whatever form of the divine you most relate to. Feel streams of that divine love and light flowing down over you and washing through your body, carrying away any fatigue, fear, negativity. As all the darkness washes out the bottoms of your feet, imagine that the light within your heart shines more and more brightly, filling you and extending around you, encircled by light, light within, light without, light above, light below, light all around. And that you merge and become one with that light. Tune into that light. Just be with that presence. Just breathing in. In the light of love, we are home. In the light of love, we are home. In the light of love, we heal and sing. In the light of love, we are home. The light of love surrounds me. The light of love enfolds me. The power of love and light protects me. The presence of love and light watches over me. Wherever I am, light and love are, and all is well. Taking 3 deep breaths together. And whenever you're ready, coming back to the present, here and now, welcome back. And I'll say that quote again by Leonard Cohen. Ring the bells that still will ring. Forget our perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Let's bring our imperfections, our messiness, all the stuff, and let's make a great stew or soup of love and light, and ingest that and digest that and share that with each other in that current of connection, activating the light within. And so it is.
That was just beautiful, Annie. Reverend Annie,
Thank you.
I feel a lot lighter, transformed myself from that. Lots of things, wonderful things to think about and to practice. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I just feel like keeping my eyes closed and relaxing, but we must carry on with the service. Our next up is our the universal blessing. So our universal blessing will be read by Reverend Natalia again. Reverend Natalia?
Thank you, Reverend Catherine. The divine bestows these blessings on us all. Miraculous love and providence, comfort, hope, and healing. Understanding hearts, resistance to temptation, freedom from egoism, equal vision, faith, devotion, and wisdom, spiritual progress and inner strength, virtuous hearts, compassion for the less fortunate, love for all. May these blessings of the divine rest upon us. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May we lift the veil and see the divine spark in all of them. In peace, shalom, salam, shanti.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Natalia. Now we come to our experiential sharing on Inner Light, led by Reverend Dr. Bud James. Reverend Bud?
Hello and welcome. We're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. We've certainly seen a lot in the way of inner light and felt it. And wow, Annie, I really got deep into that meditation. I thought it was lovely. And here's the question we would like to share with everyone. We would like you to think about an experience that you might have had of activating your inner light. If you can think about that and one does come to mind, then how do you activate your inner light? You can just share for a minute. Any one of these might give you don't have to answer all of them. In fact, we only want everybody to speak for about a minute or two. But have you ever had resistance to activating your inner light? Have you ever had challenges? The car wouldn't start, right? Our spiritual bus wouldn't get out of first gear or whatever. And then have you ever had the experience of actually igniting your inner light, where you felt that amazing sense of that light permeating you, just as we did in our meditation? And who would like to go first? Who would like to share their insights? Reverend Natalia, would you like to share? I'm going to stop.
Yeah, I would. I want to start first of all by saying, Reverend Annie, this has been absolutely awesome. You struck some really pertinent chords at the very base of my gut, all the way up to the top of my head. When you ever made that statement, sometimes the mind is a bad neighborhood to hang out in by myself, I thought, oh my God, yeah. Just really so sometimes. And where I'm going to open into talking about this activation of inner light, like you, Reverend Annie, what does it for me is singing. Singing, that concept of praying twice, that concept of just making sound. And then the other thing that I was so struck by with what you said when you talked about the toolbox, one of my favorite things that I oftentimes say is, in the vintage that I am, and I use that word vintage very, very frequently because I like it so much better than old. In this, in this vintage, we have toolboxes. Oh my gosh, we've got toolboxes. We had a lot of tools in those toolboxes. Why is it that sometimes it's so difficult to remember, A, I got the toolbox, B, let me open up and see what's in that toolbox and take it out and maybe do the thing called use it. Yeah? So many, and I, in closing, I guess the biggest piece that I have to say is what activates me the most is the singing. So remember that that's a big tool I got in my box. Dear God that lives within me and within everybody else here, can I remember to open up the box and use it? Because the minute I remember to do it and I actually do it, I come out of that place in the mind where, I don't need to fear camping out with any of the negativity. The singing cuts through it. So that's my point. Activate, open. Remember, you got the box. Learn how to open it up and take out the best thing you got in it and just do it.
Yeah. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. I love that. Yes, you're right. We do forget our spiritual tools, don't we? And sometimes that is actually part of the lesson. That's part of the experience, is the remembering, oh, I should have remembered. And then next time we remember a little quicker and sooner. And then pretty soon we start to realize, oh, I can just sit here in this space. I can choose again. That's the beauty of it. Thank you, Natalia. Appreciate that. Who else would like to share their experience of activating their inner light? Reverend Catherine.
Well, thank you again, Reverend Annie. That was just beautiful. And I definitely feel like my light's been activated from your talk and the meditation and the music. And I definitely say that music has activated my light. And, whether it's me singing or hearing somebody else singing, there's just something so pure, I don't know if that's the right term for it, but that really just connects to my heart when I hear singing, the vibrational, whatever it is that's coming from them. And it doesn't even have to be, religious or spiritual music per se, but just something that touches my soul. And the other thing that you were saying about service, I have used that. I used to play at this retreat house, I used to play music with a group, and sometimes I was going through a divorce at the time, and sometimes I felt so broken, I felt like I could barely even stand up. And, but I would go there anyway, and I would play, and by the end of we'd play for an hour and a half, and people would sing along, and I would feel renewed, and able to go back to my life and the difficulties in it. But I also forget. It's like hand it over to God, and I'm like, oh, here you go, God. And then on the other side, I'm taking it all back, and then I've got this heavy weight, and it's like, oh, look what I did again. So I do forget about using my tools, and that's something that I really want to integrate into my life again on a regular basis, that maybe every day, before I reach a crisis, why don't I take the toolbox out before I have the crisis? Maybe it won't be as bad. I don't know. I'm not in crisis right now, but, life is ups and downs. I mean, we don't get out unscathed. And so it's good reminders to, keep that toolbox, handy and use them. Use the tools that I have, whether it's reading something or, like you say, reaching out to somebody. So thank you. I was taking some notes too during your talk. So that's my share. And thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you, Reverend Catherine. That was very fundamentally important. I think that understanding how we can actually get out of our own head, out of our own noise, our bad neighborhood, as Annie put it. And that's service. Service definitely does that. That's a wonderful healing, is to help someone else. And you can either do that casually, or you can do that semi-formally, or it could be a big part of who you are. But every time we do that, we start to recognize, oh, okay, I'm not the only one here in this world, and there's other ways that I can connect and share love. Because when we're a conduit for that love, it flows through us and out, and we only amp it up when we do that. Wonderful. Who else would like to share? I think Reverend Dr. John Crisco. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. The Northern Lights represent my new home in northern in Massachusetts, where we've had our second little snowfall. It's a dusting, but things to come. And I had the opportunity to go down to New York. I'm president of an interfaith dialoguing group, and we meet once a month. And so I had a chance to help be the voice, so to speak, and helped organize and on the story of Cain and Abel from the Abrahamic religions. Really nice, great food, wonderful to be in person with people again. And then like a day and a half later, like this morning at 7:15, I showed up as a facilitator, a listener in a group of 300 done by the American Jewish Council and a lot of churches and other groups down in Westchester. Remarkable doers. The Lieutenant Governor of New York, the White Plains mayors, the council people, amazing, amazing lights in that place. And Andrea Stewart Cousins, Senate head of Albany, says, is there love in the house? A wonderful woman of color and spirit and practicality. There's love in the house. And well, this is the job we've come to do. And she kept going back, is there love in this room? And of course, people don't go, oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. So is there love in this group right now? Absolutely. Is there joy in the room? Absolutely. But just that, what lit my life, Bud, was this, is Andrea Stewart Cousins, whom I know for a long time, is there love in the house? And of course, it's on the inside. And just that word love in the house, in this house, that's what it lights up my inner fireplace. And and the thought was, when I sing, and but like Bud and others, I enjoy the singing on the long rides down into New York and back and with groups. But when I sing, I can sort of hear my voice a little bit, and that's maybe a good thing. But when I have the chance, so I hear the sound and harmonize with it as is given to me to do so. But when I hear the Catherines and the Buds, you sing rather well, Bud, and Annie, I have a chance to be a listener participant. And so I'm just holding both of those roles as being important to keeping in this world, to be a voice in the world, but to be silent enough to say, yeah, let me harmonize, let me listen to that song, let me take it in and replenish myself and be just part of the chorus and just an audience, really. So thank you for letting me be a part of your audience and chorus, Annie. It helped keep those fires ablaze. Thank you.
John, you pointed out something really important, and that is that notion of harmonic resonance. When we're experiencing that particular music, you could say that it's at a particular vibration of love. And when you match that, you can't help but break into that same harmony and feel that same experience of love just flowing through you. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Christ, it's got a good beat and I could dance to it. It's really,
hey, absolutely. Absolutely. And Pat, you've got your hand so nicely raised.
Hi there, I'm Pat. I am so grateful I saw this link. Reverend Annie is a friend of mine, and just being here with y'all tonight and hearing her share and sing has activated me. I just closed the house today and moved out, which was, bittersweet because I'd lived there for 15 years. And so I had sadness about leaving, but I'm going now to build my dream that I've had for years. So, holding both ends of that, and then coming here tonight and feeling the fuller expression of it all, so all the tools y'all have mentioned, I go, I could say my little inner child activates me at times. And I loved, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. That always changes my energy whenever I sing that. And I'll also just invoke grace, just call on grace. And I can feel it like the liquid light of living grace is what I call it. And then, the star activation tonight, I can just feel it and take it in and feel it going through all my cells. And service, definitely service in whatever way, just share something of myself with somebody else. It doesn't have to be any big act of saving the world. just sharing one-on-one or one to a group or all the little things, they not only, they activate me, and I get the benefit of the light, and I get the benefit of sharing the light. So thank y'all so much for hosting this. And thank you, Annie, for just a really beautiful, I want to call it a service in some ways, for what you shared and the ways you shared it. And I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. That's lovely. Yeah, it's really wonderful. And if you have your own little theme song, like This Little Light of Mine, it works. That's the point. You turn that on and you go, okay, you know what? I'm going to sing this until it works. And that's all there is to it. Lovely, lovely. We have time for one other. Anyone else like to share their activation process of bringing in that inner light? Don, would you like to? Sure. Come on, Reverend Don.
I'm kind of following in this whole theme of music. I mean, Annie started the whole theme and it's been flowing. And I grew up playing the trumpet and I always enjoyed that. And I played in some groups, but age has taken away my ability to keep the muscles in my lips. So I've had to put that aside. So I've been taking up the piano, and I find that I can have kind of a very busy day and so forth, and it gets to be about 9 or 9:30, and I will go sit down at the piano, and pretty soon it's like 1:30 in the morning, and it just kind of, I lose myself. The time disappears, and no matter what's been in the day or so forth, it's just with the sounds that come out, and that's kind of a reawakening. So that's my tool.
Lovely. Yeah, we can get lost in the music. There's a lot of great songs that have that particular theme, getting lost in the music. And that's so true, especially if, what's wrong with being lost in God's love? Meaning that all we experience is that, and everything else is lost to us. That's the power. That's the power of being in that space where the rest of the world can just drop away. So thank you. Lovely, lovely insights and lovely sharing. Appreciate that. All right, so we're going to quickly run through our announcements. We've got a few, and I will also put into chat the links for these. These are our themes for the year. And as you can see right now, we're in November, Inner Light. We've got Joy and Peace coming up, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. But if you take a look at that, and if you see any of them that really speak to you, and you have a thought or something you'd like to share, we've got some speakers already set aside for a couple of these services, but not for all of them. So if you see one that just says, wow, I want to speak to that, or I really want to participate in that, or I just really want to hear and listen and partake of it, that's what we're going to be doing here in 23 coming up. And I'd love to get that feedback from you. Our December service on Joy and Peace will be led by our very own Reverend Natalia, and we're looking forward to that. That's always a big event, lots of fun. We bring out all the different representations of joy and peace from all the different belief systems, lots of different ways to beat the drum, sing the song, dance, and have fun and express love. In January, we're going to have our focus on contemplation and centering. Our guest speaker will be Reverend Keith Lowenstein, who is a lifetime yoga instructor in Kriya Yoga, an amazing, amazing man, currently working on his master's degree with All Faith Seminary. And I think that's going to be a do not miss. We'll also do some Kriya meditation on that evening. Dr. John Mundy has an ongoing class, Your Soul Responsibility. He's right in the middle of it. It's a lovely class. It really talks about what is really up to us, what is important to us, what is our soul responsibility being here in this world. And once a month or so, he has a Sunday with Mundy, and we have different guest speakers On the 11th of December, we're going to have Connie Zupko, who is this wonderful author and a brilliant bright light. And she's going to talk about her book, Anxiety to Love. So how do you move from anxiety to love? And looking at all these different things and what's allowed her to move into that space of aligning completely with love. And I think Imam Arif dropped off earlier, but every Friday at 3:00 Eastern, he has a wonderful service that he offers, a healing prayer for humanity. And he's offered this over 100 times so far, started it during COVID, and it's continuing. And it's a true interfaith gathering that is hosted by a number of different organizations. And it is really focused on this idea of how do we create our collective healing process. And I'll put his information and links in chat as well. As we mentioned earlier, New Light Temple is the ordaining body for All Faith Seminary International, and they offer a number of different training programs, not just for ministers, but also graduate programs. So if you wanted to do a deep dive into A Course in Miracles, or into Judaism, or into comparative interfaith, or your particular area of focus, we've got opportunities for you to do that. And if you have any upcoming events that you would like to share, and Annie, I know that you've got something coming up that perhaps you would like to share with us, of something that people might be able to attend.
I have birthed a program, a ministerial training program for doing deep dive into ceremonies, weddings and funerals and baby blessings and rites of passage, and setting intentions with ceremony and ritual. And it's an immersive, we did it last year over 4 weekends, but it will be an immersive 2 long weekends this upcoming year. And there's a Zoom web just with information on November 30th. And I sent you the link, I think. Yeah. I
don't have it handy to drop into chat, but what I will do is I'll make sure that everybody gets a copy of that.
Yeah, it's November 30th, and I think it's 7:00 Central Time, so 8:00 Eastern. And it's just an hour long, informational Zoom about what we do. And then the training starts April 19th through
Excellent.
the 23rd. It's online and also in person in Nashville, depending on how you want to do it. So
Excellent. Thank you.
thank
That's
you.
always fun. Ceremonies can really be very, very powerful. Oh, and Catherine, you put the link in chat there. Okay, great. Thank you. That's the
Thank you.
Facebook link for that. Excellent. Yeah, and also in chat is the link to Annie's sites, and as well as the link to her book.
Thank you.
Yeah, we certainly can do that, John. I don't know why not, but singing together on Zoom because of lag does not come across well. But we can certainly try it.
Yeah.
Annie, can you play, or Catherine, can you play this little part?
I can play it.
All right, excellent.
But I don't know how to work with everybody singing, but we'll see.
Why not?
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Shine for you and me, shine for you and me. I'm gonna let it shine, shine for you and me. I'm gonna let it shine, shine for you and me. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Every day and night, I'm gonna let it shine every day and night. I'm gonna let it shine every day and night. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you, Annie. Let it shine. Amen.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Let it shine.
that was great. Great idea. Wonderful way to end our service. And, in closing, I just want to share my gratitude to Reverend Annie Mark, all the NLT staff, and everyone who came here today. Let your light shine freely and with love. So good night and hope to see you all next month, or, we hold them every month. So hope to see you sometime soon.